Hi, everybody. This screencast is going to cover some advanced features in Google Forms quizzes, which many teachers are using in our current remote learning settings. I created this sample PA geography quiz that we're going to be working with today, and we're going to start off in settings. And in general, collect email addresses. This is on by default. I recommend you leave it on so that if you, like me, on this example, don't put a space in for student name, you can still identify the student by the email address. Response receipts, I always make it if the respondent requests it, they can get one. Require sign in, you have to do this if you're going to collect the email addresses, but if you're doing this in Google Classroom, it won't matter. Anyway, limit to one response. I want to check this if it's an actual quiz that I'm counting for points because I don't want students to be able to go back and change it. If you're going to later ask students to go back and do test corrections or just retake the quiz, you're going to have to uncheck this and save again. In presentation, you can show a progress bar if you've got multiple sections. That's good for longer quizzes, longer forms. Shuffle the question order. You may want to do that. Might be more difficult for kids to cheat, but if they're at home, you've got very little control over that anyway. And then you can put in your confirmation message down here with the appropriate dad jokes as you see fit. Quizzes. Make this a quiz. You're going to toggle this on locked mode on Chromebooks. This is great if students are in the classroom in front of you. They can't open other tabs and sneakily look for answers while you're not looking at them. But while they're at home, that's kind of useless as they could have another device open right off screen, even if you're watching them like a hawk on Zoom or Google Meet. And if you turn on locked mode, it will shut down the other tabs, including Zoom or Meet, and you won't be able to see them anyway. So I recommend you just leave that off in remote learning. Release the grade. Immediately after each submission is the default. I recommend you turn on later after manual review because if you have this check, they're going to get the score immediately, which might be okay depending on what you're using the quiz for. But they will get all of these things if you have them checked, which they are by default. They'll see which questions they missed, what the correct answers are, and the point values. Correct answers is the real problem there because essentially then after one student takes the quiz, they will basically have an answer key that they could forward to other unsavory individuals in your class if they want. All right, so I like all those settings. I'm going to save. Now, I've got some questions pre-populated here. I've got a multiple choice question. What is the highest peak in Pennsylvania with 4 possible answers? What river has the longest run through Pennsylvania? Not the longest river in Pennsylvania, but the longest run through Pennsylvania. What is the largest ocean in Pennsylvania? This one is a short answer. This one is a paragraph, and that's because of some of the advanced features I'm going to show you here. So as we're setting this up as a quiz, we click answer key, and Mount Davis is the correct answer. And then you have a little feedback button at the bottom. Let me show you what it looks like here where I didn't fill anything in. Add answer feedback. You click this, and then you can add a web link, feedback that you type for students to read, and or a YouTube video, which I'm going to show you on the next example, right? So feedback for correct answers. In multiple choice, you'll have correct or incorrect tabs that you can give feedback. So if a student gets the answer correct, you could say Mount Davis is in Somerset County, and you can link to a web page about Mount Davis, the highest peak that students could click on and read, because I'm sure they're going to be really interested in reading about that. And then feedback for incorrect answers. I expect this to be a very popular answer. And I wrote Dean Hefner is a teacher, coach, and dad, not a mountain. And then I linked Mr. Hefner's webpage right here for students to check out if they want. And if I don't like either of these, I can just go in and click the trash can and delete them, or click on the edit button. And, maybe I want to add a YouTube video of Mr. Hefner teaching a geology lab or something like that. I could do that right there. Okay, but I'm done with that question. I move down to short answer. And on short answer here, I click answer key. And you'll notice I have the longest river, the run Let me try that again. What river has the longest run through Pennsylvania? I'm outwitting myself here, which evidently isn't hard late in the day. So Susquehanna, I put a capital S in there. Susquehanna, put a lowercase s, and mark all other answers incorrect. And so students have to spell it like this with a capital S or like this with a lowercase s in order to get credit. You could be a stickler and say no capital, no credit, or, whatever. Right. And then for feedback, I put a video in here mapping the historic Susquehanna River. Now, this is a 41-minute video, which nobody wants to watch a 41-minute video on the Susquehanna River, really. But I found it, and I put this text in here. The Ohio River is the longest river that flows in Pennsylvania, but most of it lies outside the state's western border. The Susquehanna River has the longest run through Pennsylvania. So that's the answer I want. Click done. Now down here, the last one, what is the largest ocean in Pennsylvania? And I have this set at 2 points. There are no correct answers because this question type is paragraph. You can't enter anything as a paragraph. Add answer feedback. And again, I could add a link or I could add a YouTube video or whatever I want. But I'm going to put silly rabbit. There are no oceans in Pennsylvania. All right. Done. Okay. So now I've got my answer key set up and it is ready to go. So I'm going to take the quiz now. I click the preview icon there. You would pop this in Google Classroom. All right. It says my email address is being collected. What's the highest peak in Pennsylvania? I'm going to fall for the trap and say Dean Hefner Mountain. What river has the longest run through Pennsylvania? I am going to say Susquehanna, but I'm going to spell it with one N on purpose here. What is the largest ocean in Pennsylvania? Ain't no PA oceans. All right. And I could toggle on, send me a copy of my responses here if I want, and I'm going to submit. All right. Thanks for taking your PA Geography quiz. So now I come back here. Notice the responses are now 5. It was 4. And I come in and I toggle. You'll be on summary to start. You want to go over to individual responses. And to my newest response, my latest, I toggle over to 5 and I come down. What is the highest peak in Pennsylvania? I selected this. It marked it wrong. I have 0 out of 1 point. Mount Davis is the correct answer. And here I can get all kinds of information about Mr. Hefner if I want. What river has the longest run through Pennsylvania? Ooh, well, they had the right idea, but they missed an N. Now, if you want to be a stickler and penalize that kid for misspelling it, you're mean. And my dyslexic daughter would like to remind you that bad spellers are people too with feelings. So let's say you want to give this student partial credit, but not full credit. You come over here to the points and you click up to 1. Now notice, it's still going to say wrong answer, X, and it's going to be highlighted in pink. And it says here, edits are pending. You could save now, or you can wait till you do the next edit as well. But you know what? I'm a nice guy. I'm going to say that they get full points for this. It's still going to say wrong answer, but you've overridden the point value. And when I come down here, it's going to say that they have full credit, 2 out of 2, but even though it's marked wrong, right? They could watch the video if they have 41 minutes and they're dying to know about mapping the Susquehanna River. And then this last question, I'll notice there was no answer choice, but it marked it wrong. You're going to have to hand grade it. And the student wrote, ain't no PA oceans. And you're like, that's absolutely correct, Jimmy. So you scroll that up to 2 points. And you could add individual feedback here. I'm very proud of you. You could click on that and add it. You click save, and now they've got their score. You can release it, right? I'm just going to release the last one that I took here, send emails and release the score, and then they'll get that score and the results in their inbox. So on short answer questions like this one, you can toggle the point value, and as soon as you do, you'll get that edit button, right? Down here, save. And paragraph, you have to grade by hand. And the way you grade is over here in the point total, toggling up and down. You can also click and type the number that you want. That was such a great answer. I'm going to give them 10 out of 2. Math teachers are just shaking their heads in disbelief right now. Okay, you save those, and then you'll have the opportunity to resend those scores. All right, so those are some advanced features, grading open-ended items and providing feedback in Google Forms quizzes.